So what's up guys, Sam here, and it is good to be back finally with episode 3 of the best Nova Launcher setups. Today I have 4 really sleek, ultra attractive Android setups to showcase to you guys, so let's get straight into this. Today's featured setups come from Glenn, Parth, Jordan, and Brandon, and these guys have created some really appealing, outrageously cool setups for you to check out and try on your own devices. And as always, each element of these setups, so the backup files, the wallpapers, the icon packs, the widgets, and any relevant apps will all be linked in the description below for you to load onto your own setups. Oh, and before I get into the setups, you may notice this sleek new device I'm using, and this is actually a super interesting device that you may or may not have heard of, and it's called the Elephone S7, which unashamedly rocks a very similar design to the Galaxy S7 Edge, but actually runs a virtually stock Android OS. The company GearBest was actually nice enough to send this out to me for review, which will be coming in the next few weeks, so stay tuned for that. They haven't sponsored me to say this or anything, but definitely check out their website in the description below, as they have a massive selection of tech and tech accessories of all different price categories, so go and have a look. Alrighty, so in no particular order, let's get this episode started with Jordan's ultra clean setup. So this is another setup that fully revolves around the wallpaper, and I absolutely love it. It's a 3-page setup with the home page being in the middle and the 2 secondary pages sandwiching it on either side, which I'll get into in a moment. So starting with the centerpiece of this setup is that wallpaper, which comes courtesy of the Backdrops application, but Jordan has also been nice enough to give me the direct link to it, so I'll link both in the description. But as you can see, this is one of those wallpapers that give users an opportunity to have something bright and colorful up top, whilst also providing space down the bottom for functionality purposes. Stepping down below, we have 2 white dot icons, which are actually hiding folders in each, and these dots come courtesy of the Min icon pack. Jordan has labeled the left one as entertainment and the right one as games, of which I'm yet to download any on this phone, but this definitely adds a really nice layer of functionality to such a minimal setup. Smack bang in the middle, we have this Google logo icon, which I've set up using the Flat UI widget pack for Super Widget Pro, and I've just used one of their regular widgets and deleted everything but the icon. Now, I'm not 100% sure how Jordan had this set up, but I have it set up so that it opens the Google app when I tap on it. Down below, we have a dock of 5 app icons, and Jordan is running the Immaterialist icon pack across his entire setup, which gives it this cartoony sort of look. And he's got 5 social media apps here, so Facebook, Messenger, YouTube, Instagram, and Snapchat. Now, I'd be super happy to leave that setup there, but I will show you that Jordan had a custom text and box settings widget on the left page, which opens up the settings, and he had a custom UFC widget to the right, which I've replaced with a clock, and he has been nice enough to link me with those custom widgets, which are in the description below. But to be honest with you, I'm not actually 100% convinced that these pages are needed. Each of these shortcuts could easily be placed in the 2 white folders, and I would most likely find myself even forgetting that the 2 pages existed. But I do like the creativity, so if that's what you like, then absolutely go for it. And finally, he has a swipe up app drawer, which is in a list view style with a slightly opaque white background, and 4 folders up the top for added functionality, which definitely keeps things looking ultra clean. But that's it for Jordan's setup. Incredible if you ask me, and definitely worth trying out. Okay, so next up we have a 1-page setup that comes courtesy of Brandon, and this is another setup that quite heavily revolves around a super attractive looking wallpaper, which is quite bright and vibrant, and Brandon has given me the link, which as always I will place in the description below. Now, unlike most setups I've featured in this entire series, this setup has a little more going on the home page, but it still gives off a really clean vibe, which I really dig. So up the top we have a day and clock widget, which comes courtesy of Unity Widgets 3 for Super Widget Pro, and as always I have this set up to trigger my clock application, but you could also have it trigger your calendar widget as an alternative, or really anything you so desire. Below that we have the Google search widget, which is actually built into Nova Launcher, and it just has been resized to fit nicely underneath that day and clock widget just above. Coming down below, we have 2 rows of 4 application icons, and you can obviously place whatever the heck you want here, but all of the applications across the entire setup are using icons from the Delta icon pack, which I am a big fan of. Now, just below that, we have a custom built battery indicator widget made using KWGT, and I will link this widget in the description below to save you the trouble of setting it up manually, but I quite like this, particularly given that Brandon has set Nova Launcher up to hide his status bar, so this gives you a nice way to check out how much juice is left. Other than that, Brandon is using a swipe up gesture to access the app drawer, which is a card background style setup with a few different tabs organizing his apps. But aside from that, that is pretty much it for Brandon's setup. Definitely check out the description below to get started with it. Following that, we have a super clean, incredibly eye-catching setup brought to you by Path. And as you can see, this one is definitely a looker. So first things first, that wallpaper. Minimal mountains and landscapes are probably my ultimate favorite wallpapers for setups at the moment, and this one is definitely a winner. Once again, it's the dark, muted tones of the colors that really help to emphasize anything that gets placed on top, and those app icons really do just pop on top of this wallpaper. Up the top, front and center, we have a month, date, and clock widget, which is made using the minimal widget pack for Zupa Widget Pro. And I really do enjoy the stark contrast between big cursive writing to the little minimal lettering writing below it. I think it looks super nice and clean. You can also use a very similar widget within the same minimal widget pack to create the name signature and slogan down below. You'll just need to jump in and change the text to edit manually, and then just input your name and whatever slogan you so desire. But again, you could replace this text widget with whatever you want. In fact, I'd probably even go as far as to just removing them completely or putting a couple of dot folders there just to clean up the home screen even more, whilst also adding extra functionality. In the middle, we once again have 2 rows of 4 application icons. This time they're quite small though, which does look really nice in this setup. Again, each using the Delta icon pack, and I really do enjoy this icon pack, particularly with that dullish background. They really do stand out on the home screen, which I am a massive fan of. Aside from that, we have another swipe up to open app drawer, and as you can see, the small sized icons carry across his entire setup, which definitely adds a cool flavor. And you can probably also notice that he has 7 folders at the top of his app drawer to keep things super organized. But that's it for Path's setup. Another excellent creative job in my mind. And finally, we have this single page Star Wars inspired setup from Glenn. And not only does this setup look super cool and minimal like a boss, but it's also got some really neat functionality included as well. So first things first, that amazingly fresh wallpaper comes from the Zedge wallpaper application. If you just search for Star Wars, 2 words, you will find it. And I just love the way that it gives a little something to look at in the middle and then just black everywhere else, which again provides a great opportunity to experiment with app icons and so forth. Just above that, we have a 2x2 clock and date widget, which comes from the minimal widget application. Once again, I have this set up to trigger my clock application, and just to help you with the setup, I had to scale this up to 90% and then adjust the X-axis positioning to get the right size. And that little red line to the left of it is not actually there by default, but it's super easy to add yourself. I just created a rectangular shape in Zupa Widget Pro and then resized it to fit. Now coming down to the bottom, we have this really neat row of 3 app icons. So the phone application, the app drawer, and an SMS application of your choice, all of which are using the EOS icon pack, which really does look great on this black background, really giving it the white Stormtrooper look. And then in between each, we have 2 red application folders, which have been created using the CandyCon icon pack. As you may have noticed, I have a big place in my heart for these dot icon folders, because if you can get them into your setup, then not only do they look super clean, you can also put any app in there you like, which just saves you that extra step of going to your app drawer and scrolling to find the app that you're looking for. Now, one final thing that I thought was outrageously cool, but is actually quite subtle, is that Glenn has actually got a battery indicator widget hidden inside Darth Vader's flipping lightsaber. I mean, how unbelievably cool is that? It's been created using a Zupa Widget progress bar widget, and it's actually super tricky to set up, and unfortunately Glenn did not send his through to me, but I'll put the one that I created in the description below, but you'll most likely have to tweak it to fit the wallpaper for your specific device. Other than that, as mentioned before, the app drawer is triggered by the Darth Vader icon here, or via a swipe up gesture. And then he's got this spacey blue transparent background, and it's a shame that the EOS icon pack doesn't skin missing icons, because it looks kind of lousy without every icon being white. But aside from that, this is a really cool setup that I am a big fan of. But there it is, guys, 4 incredibly unique, super attractive setups that I have full confidence you will love downloading and trying on your own devices. So definitely check out the description below to get everything you need to get going with each of these setups. In addition, I've also put a link in the description to the original video, which has all of the instructions for submitting your own setups. And please make sure you send your screenshots of the setup in conjunction with the Nova Launcher backup files, because that's actually how I preview each of the setups when selecting them for these episodes. But aside from that, that is it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it and get a kick out of now creating your own setups. But thanks heaps for watching, and I'll catch you later.